And we have another question from a client boss that what's the difference between an LLC and an S corp for tax purposes?
Aha. An S corporation is a particular classification for corporations. You have to have 100 or fewer. You keep changing the number on this. It used to be 25, then it was 100. You have to have a small number of people as owners. You can only have one class of stock, and it's a pass-through structure. So, like a big corporation, a C corporation, is let's say Tesla or Apple or IBM or any big company that's publicly traded is pretty much going to be a C corporation. The C corporation pays its own taxes. And that has particular advantages and disadvantages, but a S corporation is a pass-through. So all the stuff we were talking about earlier with reasonable compensation and qualified business income deduction, those all come into effect because it's pass-through, because the income files its own tax return, but then the income flows through to the owners through Schedule K1. So that's what an S corp is. But an S corp is not a type of corporation. It is a tax status. It's an election that you make with the IRS. And in New York, you also have to make it with the state. So you know, so an LLC is a limited liability company, and for tax purposes, LLCs do not exist. They are what the IRS calls creatures of the state. And what that means is that there is no federal designation or federal recognition of LLC. And so the net result is that you file an LLC with your Secretary of State in whatever state you're operating in, and then you have to go and tell the IRS, hey, I have this LLC for tax purposes, I'm going to be X. And it could be anything. Could be C corporation, could be a partnership, could be an S corporation, could be a disregarded entity where it's just completely gone as far as tax purposes go. So they're two totally separate things. So you could be a corporation taxed as a S corporation. You could be an LLC taxed as an S corporation. You could be an LLC taxed as a partnership. You could be an LLC taxed as a C corporation, or you could be an LLC taxed as a disregarded entity, meaning that you're just flow through to whatever owns the LLC. And so one is a legal designation, so that's the LLC, and one is a tax status, which is the S corporation, and they may or may not have anything to do with each other. A lot of people do get confused by that and say, "I thought I was an LLC. Now you're telling me an S corp." It's two different things. One's legal, one's tax. That's just how it is.
So we have another question that came in. It's a business tax question.